Going to open up the meeting at 7:15. Make an announcement about the chairperson in just a minute, but I'm going to open up the meeting. We'll take a roll call. Commissioner Pacone?
Here.
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Commissioner Hayden?
Present.
Commissioner Santoro?
Present.
And Philip, Commissioner Cucciani is present. I'd like to have you stand, please, for a moment of silence. I'd like to specifically mention out to everybody, I know most of you are probably aware of it, Jeffrey Hino of the Woonsocket Fire Department who passed away on Saturday. And then there were 7 Marine motorcycle riders, veterans who passed away in that terrible accident in New Hampshire. A moment of silence, please. If you would, pledge allegiance. I forgot the words. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have some general announcements, if we could, please, Mr. Jones.
Announced at the previous meeting, graduation of Class 008 of the Rhode Island Fire Academy will be this Friday, 10:30 a.m. Public is welcome. It's located at 4 Green Lane, Exeter, Rhode Island. It's adjacent to the Veterans Cemetery if anyone's interested in attending. It's usually a very impressive graduation ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the meeting of May 28, 2019. I think we've had an opportunity to look at those minutes. Do we have any motions in regards to the acceptance of those minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to accept by Commissioner Pacone.
Second.
Second by Mr. Santoro. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those are not in favor signify by saying nay. Hearing none, it passes 1, 2, 3, 5 to nothing. Thank you. I don't know of any communications that I am aware of. As I said, Ms. Ouellette, Commissioner Chairperson Ouellette, is on her way here. Business commitment is going to delay her. She may have some further communications, so even though we're discussing it now, we'll bring it up later if there are any to bring at that time. I don't know of any old business, unless someone can refresh my memory. I don't know of any old business. Then the new business, we have the Chief's report for May of 2019. If you would, Chief, please.
Good evening. As you can see from the attached reports, there were 366 response calls in the month of May 2019, broken down by the categories as listed. We had a fire on Wisteria Lane, a very unfortunate incident for the homeowner. But there was no one home at the time, and that's one of the reasons that the fire got to the intensity that it did. He had been gone for about 6 hours, and the fire marshal believes that it was probably in the incipient stages while he was still there. Wisteria Lane is off Reservoir Road. We had a little bit of water challenges at first. That was 800 feet from the hydrant to the operating pumper. We had called in Plainville for assistance with a water tanker just to have some backup. I'm not sure, although there was a lot of contents that were burnt in the house wasn't really structurally hurt that bad. The issue is going to be the age of the house and if the building official will allow it to stay or make it come up to code. Part of the problems, they're definitely going to have to bring the electrical service up to code, which this house has been in the family for generations. So there were a lot of add-ons that were adding to the strain of the electrical service. We'll just leave it at that. Engine 1 and ladder 1 did a technical removal of a patient from a local business from the second floor. It's something that you don't see too often. It had been practiced a few times, and what they did is they took a window out of the second floor of the building, put the patient on it's called the Stokes basket. It's a rigid basket with a 4-point system, and they were able to slide the patient out the window, gently lower him down to a stretcher, and transport him. Subsequent results or subsequent documentation after the patient was transported proved that if they would have done anything other than what they did, there was a good probability that paralysis would have been permanent. So at this point, you know, the move that they did was effortless for them. It was kudos to them for practicing and doing this operation, and for successfully keeping someone in a recoverable position.
Chief, if I may ask, which station responded to that medical situation?
Station 1 initially, and when they realized that they weren't going to be able to get the patient back down the stairway, they called for Station 2 with ladder 1 to get the specialized rigging equipment that they needed to come out.
And I assume that fire on Hysteria Lane, all 4 stations responded?
Yes, along with mutual aid. We had some Lincoln companies and a Plainville company in.
Not that it, just which station, because of locale, got to there for?
Station 5, Engine 5, yeah.
Thank you.
In Wisteria Lane, that's one of the things, anything off Reservoir Road, you're there for a while by yourself. So you got to be very conscious about water management, hose placement, and you know, keeping the area open for subsequent apparatus to come in. Okay.
Any further questions of the chief in regards to his monthly report?
Just a typo, it says August 1st, you mean July 1st? For the target class of 008? To have them start?
No, well, they're going to stop, but they'll be riding as 4th men for the month of July.
For 4 weeks?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
for 4 weeks of training in town, which is the synonymous thing that we've done with the last dozen rookies that we've hired. So after their 4 weeks of training, then they will be taking manpower spots in August. I've been down there a couple times. I know some of you have questions about the cost of the academy, but there is no way that I could replicate the training they get at the academy in town. We have some good instructors. We have instructors that teach at the academy, but the tools that they have there between the burn building, the auto fire props, the confined space area, the drafting, just setting up the road course for the driver training and the technical aspects of backing in and pulling out, it far exceeds anything we could do here. And the best part is going to pay dividends in years to come, and I told this to the director last week. Each group is migrated with members from different departments. So this is going to pay dividends as mutual aid comes to play, and even further in their careers as they get promoted, or where one member has something very technical, these guys will be able to call each other and get a very good insight, and it's going to create a much better fire service for Rhode Island. I just think that, you know, if you have the chance to come down, on Friday, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about as you visit the facility. And they just keep adding on to it and making it better.
Thank you, Chief. Do I hear a motion to accept the chief's report for May of 2019?
One more thing, Chair.
Oh, excuse me, apologize.
No problem. Chief, just on this class 008, I did neglect to announce that there will be tours of the facility immediately following the ceremony.
Correct, yeah.
So there's a 6-story or 4-story?
4.
4-story gym
Yeah.
tower, and there'll be staff there to guide people through the classroom areas and all the site areas that you just mentioned. Thank you, Chair.
Do I hear a motion to accept the chief's report for May of 2019? Mr. Hayden makes a motion to accept the chief's report for May of 2019. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the chief's report for May of 2019 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those in do not accept the report signify by saying nay. Hearing none, it carries 5-0. Thank you. And I have to point out that as I already indicated, the only commissioner missing tonight is Mr. Hagan. I'm sure he is occupied. Hogan, I'm sorry. Surprised I remember my last name, to tell you the truth. We have the finance report for May of 2019, if we could.
Good evening. You have the documents in front of you. I just wanted to point out a few things on it. A couple of things, not a few. One, to date, collections on the current year, which is pretty good. As of May 31st, we are at 98% in collecting of the fees. And the other thing I wanted to note about is the new tax bills went out this June, a couple of weeks ago. And right now, to date, as of yesterday, we have collected about 1.5 million of that for the following year. So they're prepaying it before the end of the year, so it will be carried over into the new year. So being any other questions, I really don't have anything else to offer right now, other than answer whatever you may have.
Any other members have any further questions? We've all had an opportunity to review this prior to meeting tonight. As a result, does anyone I'd like to hear a motion to accept the finance report as presented for May of 2019? Motion to accept. Commissioner Santoro makes a motion to accept the finance report presented by the Finance Director for May of 2019. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those in not in agreement signify by saying nay. Hearing none, it carries 5-0. Thank you. Have an opportunity for public input. Do we have any public input? Hearing none, then I will go on to the other item, executive session. We've got... Well, good point. We'll take a 5-minute recess at this point in time. Why don't we hold off and rejoin and then we'll go into executive session. But I will tell the audience when we come back here after the 5-minute break, the first item that will be on will be to go into executive session. You're welcome to stay to that point, but once we make the motion, then we go into executive session. Thank you. 5-minute break, please.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize for my lateness, my tardiness. I understand that we are reopening. So is a motion on the table to reopen the meeting? Motion. Motion by Commissioner Santoro. Is there a second by Commissioner Jones? All in favor of, is there any discussion? All in favor of opening the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. All right, meeting's open.
Indicated, Chairperson, that since you were occupied by business and the reason why you were late, in case you had any other announcements that you wanted to make before we made a motion to go into executive session. I did not know whether you did.
At this moment in time, I do not have any other announcements that I need to make, other than just for the public. We've got summertime coming up. There have been a few grill fires I've noticed, not necessarily in Cumberland, but we're coming up on 4th of July, and this is our last meeting before July 4th. And unfortunately, fireworks are legal in Rhode Island, so I encourage people to please leave fireworks to the professionals and stay away from any type of firework at all, including sparklers, which can burn up to 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. So I hope that everyone has a safe and enjoyable July 4th celebration, but please, please leave the fireworks to the professionals. Thank you.
Make a motion to go into executive session. Vote to go into executive session to discuss items of business cited in RIGL Section 42-46-5, subsection A, subsections 1 through 9.
There's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Kutsiani. Any discussion? All in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. We are now in executive session.